Hey, my name is Payne, and I'm gonna be honest, this is my first YouTube video. I don't really quite know how to address the camera or anything, and by the way, I'm sorry about the bad camera. I know it's not too good. But I guess I should start with what I want this channel to be, because I would really like to actually make something of this channel. And I'm driving right now, so I'm sorry about the darkness. But what I'd like for this channel to be is a MMA channel. I have a great interest in MMA, UFC, and just anything of the sort, you know, just about all combat sports, you know, I'll give it a watch. And I've been watching UFC for as long as I can remember, at least. And I guess we'll just get into it and talk about, you know, I guess the future of the welterweight division, considering, you know, what has happened if you're watching around the time. Recently, the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, Kamaru Usman, the welterweight champion, got knocked out by Leon Edwards. And honestly, it was insane. It was crazy. I don't yell whenever I'm watching fights at home on TV, or at least I don't yell that often. But this was one of the few times that I yelled at the top of my lungs. Just, it was crazy. It was insane. I mean, I didn't think that would happen. A lot of people didn't think that would happen. I'm sure some people probably did. But anyway, where do we go from here? I would assume that the UFC is trying to make Usman Edwards 3. That's what I would assume they would go with. But I could see them going a couple other directions. I mean, Leon has history with George Masvidal, and could easily request a fight with Masvidal. And you know Masvidal would jump on that instantly, considering the fact that he pieced Leon up, and they've kind of had a bit of back and forth in terms of trash talk. So there is a storyline there that they could work with. And ultimately, I think that might be that would probably be Masvidal's last chance at a title, unless he moves up or down a division. And I don't really see him moving up or down a division at this point in his career. You know, I don't think he's big enough for middleweight, and he used to cut down to lightweight in his earlier career. But at the age he's at, I don't know if he'd be willing to cut down to 155 anymore, you know? And that fight, I think there would be a lot of hype around that fight, because Masvidal, Chael Sonnen always says Masvidal is the second biggest star in the sport's history. And he may just be right. He may just be right. So that would easily sell a lot of pay-per-views. It would bring a lot of hype, a lot of attention. You know, the casual fans know who he is. The hardcore fans absolutely love him more often than not. And that's a fight that I would like to see. Because if I'm Leon, I'm just putting myself in Leon's shoes. I'm going to tell Usman, you know, hey, you had the right to say, I want to defend the title against Leon, and you didn't for so long. So for now, you can go, make a movie, do whatever, spend time with your family, recover, get better, do whatever, and I'm gonna fight Masvidal. I got beef to settle with Masvidal. That's just what I would be thinking if I was Leon. But I could also see the UFC possibly going with Edwards versus Colby. But I think they're, in my opinion, I think they're either going to go with Leon Masvidal or Leon Usman 3. I think Colby might beat Leon, though. I think Colby beats Leon, probably. I think he's got such a strong wrestling background. I mean, we watched him ragdoll a lot of his opponents. Not on the same level as Khabib did, but he can control his opponents enough to make them seem almost helpless. And Colby is the first person to take down Usman. Can't change my mind about that. Let's see. But also, where does this leave other guys in the division? You know, guys like Gilbert Burns and Chimaev. I think Chimaev might have to fight another guy. I mean, Chimaev's got a fight coming up with Nate Diaz, and I want Nate to win that fight so bad. I wasn't a fan of that fight being made. And you know, I still would prefer it not to happen. But could you imagine if Khamzat Chimaev, you know, shoots for a takedown or something and gets wrapped up in a triangle choke or something like that and just can't get out? It'd be insane. It'd be on probably the same level as whenever he choked out Conor in their first fight. Which I was rooting for Nate in that fight too. But I think what the UFC needs to do, you know, I think Khamzat Chimaev is, if he beats Nate, I don't think they're going to give him a title shot next. I think that's what was planned if Usman had won, but that didn't happen. You know, so I could see, you know, Khamzat possibly having to go through another guy, whether it be Colby, whether it be Masvidal. I don't think Masvidal's going to take that fight, and I know Colby hasn't really shown an interest in that fight, so that would probably be hard to make. Let's see. Who could possibly fight, or who would be interested in fighting Khamzat? We got Neil Magny. Neil Magny would gladly take that fight. I mean, about a year ago, I want to say, he started calling him out and just has heard nothing since, which doesn't make sense to me, because he started calling out Khamzat when nobody wanted to fight Khamzat. So I could see, you know, Neil being thrown at him, possibly. I don't think Jeff Neal would turn down the fight. I don't know if Stephen Thompson would turn down the fight. I know Gilbert would probably gladly accept a rematch with Khamzat, and that would be, I'd be down to see that fight, because the first fight was just insane. I mean, both of them going back and forth, rocking each other, dropping each other, just swinging for the fences. Those two had an insane fight. But at the moment, I don't see Khamzat getting a title shot just yet. I think he might have to go through another guy if he beats Nate. And then also talk about, you know, Stephen Thompson. Where does Stephen Thompson go? I know he said, I want to say it was a couple months ago he said this, but he said he would be interested in having a rematch with Masvidal. And he also said he'd be interested in having a rematch with Gilbert. to go with Gilbert Thompson, though. Let me think. Maybe Stephen Thompson versus Jeff Neal. Although Jeff Neal is calling out Colby as of late. He said, like on Twitter, something like, nobody wants to fight me, nobody wants to fight you. You know, we both have a clear schedule. Let's make the welterweight division great again. Those were his words. And I don't know. It seems like Colby is wrapped up in some legal stuff. I don't know when we'll see Colby again, considering, you know, Masvidal assaulted him outside of a restaurant, which he did deserve. He deserved it. But I don't know. Let's see. Where does Leon go from here? Well, I already talked about where he goes from here, but do I see him beating Usman in a third fight? I don't know. I kind of don't think so, because I mean, if you look at that first fight, anybody who watched that first fight, Usman was going to win if it went to decision. If it would have gone to decision, Usman had won. And I feel like if Usman and Edwards 3 happens, Usman will probably be prepared enough. I think he'll prepare extra hard, train extra hard. I think he might have it down to take the belt back. But do I see Leon beating George? That's one I could see that going either way. I'm more of a George fan than a Leon fan, but I could see either one of those guys winning that fight. I see it being a close, competitive, probably a mostly stand-up fight, unless Leon wants to change it up and take George to the ground, because it seems like Leon might have a better wrestling advantage over George. But then again, they both prefer to stand and strike. So I could see them possibly just standing and banging, and either way, you know, both of those guys have the power to knock people out, as we've just seen with Leon, and as we've seen repeatedly with George. I don't know. I feel like I might take George in that fight. And if Leon versus Colby happens, I think Colby out-wrestles Leon the whole time. I think Colby beats him. Kind of running out of stuff to say. And we're about like almost 14 minutes in. So I guess I'll end the video here. Turn the light on for this. Once again, my name is Payne Miller, and yeah, that was my first YouTube video, and I hope whoever sees it likes it, and hopefully I'll be able to really make something of this YouTube channel. Just give me time. You know, I know y'all don't know who I am, but give me time, and I promise, like, I'm gonna commit to this. I'm gonna make a channel. The production will probably go up. It might just stay to videos of me talking in the car while I drive, just because I don't have a setup or anything at home. So yeah, but I guess I'll end the video at that. Take care.